they can see everything. So we are moving forward, and I'm so happy to invite our next speaker from sunny Azerbaijan, Nargiz Aliyeva, Head of Internal Audit Department, AccessBank. Nargiz, the floor is yours.
I will do chat also. Hello, colleagues. This is my privilege to be here among so big group of professionals to share ideas, to discuss some areas that is important for all of us. As Carolina already presented, I'm head of internal audit in AccessBank. I also board member of IA Azerbaijan and also working closely with colleagues in our internal audit expert group within the Bank Association of Azerbaijan. So my presentation, my speech today will be related to Quality Assurance Improvement Program and how we can transform compliance requirement into strategic view. How this tool can help us to look at ourselves. So far we talked about our services externally, how we provide our services, and Quality Assurance Improvement Program really helps us to provide a quality, but at the same time look inside. So in fact, when I was preparing for my presentation, I reflected on my status on social network 2 years back during my CIA journey, and which caught my attention about equality. And now when I look back on this 2 years back, and I think that, yeah, it's even resonates with me now more strongly and more profoundly that quality is not happening in one day. Quality is something that is built up with right people, right technologies, right methodologies. It's a continuous process of building this quality, using and utilizing different tools. And I think that we as an auditors, we are really fortunate to be in a profession which not only defines quality, it's also provide us with many tools and those which are available publicly and through the membership, different tools which helps us to maintain and put the quality in place. And if we look at our standards, which is now quite a comprehensive framework with these 5 domains, 15 principles, and 52 standards, which require us not only to have the quality, but continuously improve the processes to reflect this quality. And what is interesting here, like we have requirements for external assessment, as we all know, once in 5 years, and we have requirements for internal assessment. And internal continuously have an ongoing monitoring, which is our day-to-day activities, supervision, and how we deliver services. And my focus will be more on periodic self-assessment, how to conduct periodic self-assessment, and at the same time we have a requirement to communicate the results of this self-assessment. I will share our experience. We've started this experience when 2017 standards were in force, and then we now convert to 2024 to do the same conformance checklist for ourselves. Here it is important to think the Quality Assurance Improvement Program not as a compliance requirement or box ticking like exercise. I am in conformance, I am in compliance, but to change and to have the view as a strategic view. Like changing the lens would show us where we are at this particular point of time, what we do and how we do. When we go through, what we have done, we actually created a checklist of the standards, and our current standards reflects our practice, our work, what we are doing and how we are doing, and provide a section of evidence of conformance. So standards provide us with a direction how we can prove we do this particular service, what we can present in order to show our conformance with standards, what we present to demonstrate our quality, our services, and everything. So when we look inside of these standards, and when we see that these are requirements for providing, this is an evidence of conformance, then we look at ourselves and ask ourselves, how do I perform? And in so many areas, let's say, we have to maintain effective communication. When we ask ourselves how we maintain this effective communication, how we can prove that we maintain effective communication, or it is a risk-based plan, how we can prove ourselves that our plan is risk-based, what documents we have, what methodologies we have. And I think that this type of review of the standards, this periodic self-assessment, it's really a compass for us. Compass to identify our weaknesses within our internal audit team and what are our strengths. And what we have done this time, we've taken the global internal audit standards. We put together a checklist, which I will demonstrate in the next slide. We put together the checklist, and we started to analyze our activity, and we started to check what we are doing at the moment, what type of methodologies we have, what our tools to communicate the results of our audit, and how we communicate, with whom we communicate. And it is multidimensional. We included some evidences, what we have, what type of action plan we need to do to be in conformance. And here's the checklist that we've created. So first 5 columns actually is a copy-paste from the standards. This is a standard itself. This is evidence of conformance required. And then if you look at the next columns, it's a current situation assessment. So we start to look at our methodologies, we start to look at our processes, and then we think that what current evidences we have in order to prove that we are doing that. What we have to do to be in conformance, what we have to do to provide more quality in our work. And we put an assessment score. Of course, it's judgmental. We put it like from 1 to 4. 1, it's non-compliance. The second, it's partially compliant. The third is compliant and highly compliant. Of course, there is some judgment behind. We can be in non-compliance, but what would be the partially compliant and highly compliant? Highly compliant, we consider those practices that we leave them. We establish this practice, and it's already kind of an automated process. It's like with driving the car. We never think about how to change the vitesse. It's real automated. And some practices that we thought that we are in partial compliance, we might have it in process. We might execute this process, but we do not have anything to prove that we are doing that. One of the things that we work quite closely with second line, we collaborate a lot with the risk management team, but in fact, it is somewhere in our work papers. It needs to be reflected somewhere. What are our methodology? What are the level of reliance on other on other assurance providers? Like, to what extent we rely, how we rely, what we have to do before we rely on their services. So this type of methodologies was a question, like how we can prove ourselves that this is happening. So next we have an action plan with simple yes or no, whether this part of a standards, whether this activity requires any action plan to be taken. And after that, after yes or no, we try to put together what is the type of action plan. Some action plans can be very simple. Maybe we need to reflect something in our internal audit charter. Maybe we need to change our procedures and fine-tune the procedures for our processes. And second, more complicated might be developing some new methodologies, developing some new approaches which these changes in technology would require, how we work. And these are different action plans that we put together. Sometimes it is development of evidence of existence because it is process in place, but there is no evidence. And after that, what we receive, we split the checklist on each domain and rated our, I think my voice is coming well, right? And what we've done, we put this rating. After that, this checklist becomes a tool. So it reflects what are the particular areas we consider ourselves as a non-compliant, what particular areas we consider ourselves partially on in compliance, and what is our strengths, where we highly compliant, what we have done as the best and good practices in place, and we have full evidence of conformance of that. And this actually helped us to visualize, to have a dashboards, to communicate with committee, with audit committee, with the board, where we are. This checklist demonstrated our our standpoint at particular point of time, and serves as a roadmap. We just put it together to understand where we want to go, to what extent. And when I talk about checklists, when I talk about methodologies, I'm not talking about like 150 pages of methodology, which people are really difficult to read and then remember. Sometimes developing methodology, it's exactly maybe 2-page document which would visualize your internal processes, which is easy for the people to understand what they have to do and how. Because at nowadays, we might have, as other colleagues mentioned, we might have excellent regulations. We can have them on paper, but no one would read them or follow them. So this type of exercise gives us understanding that our methodology might be in place, but it's not practical enough. What to do with this methodology, how to work with this instrument. So as I said before, it's not only compliance requirement. For us, it was a roadmap to develop some new tools to look at our processes internally. And what we have done after this exercise, we improved our risk-based methodologies. We aligned these methodologies with organizational risk appetite statement. We improved our communication with stakeholders. We improved our communication with other departments. And one of the example that when we checked our professional development, we involved head of HR, we involved HR department, and we checked with them what are different ways that we can improve the skills within the internal audit team. What would be the best skills for us to increase our business acumen? What trainings they can us provide within the institution? What are external trainings available? And after this exercise, I think the quality of our services becomes more of a shared responsibility. It is not only chief audit executive responsibility, it is involving the team. The teams start to understand standards better. They start to look into our activities better. They start to look on their work from different perspective, and they start thinking how to communicate the result of their work. And what we have done also, we improved our reporting. We started to understand that, okay, what is the audience of our report? Whether it is the person responsible for the function, for the auditable area, whether it is a management board or it's a board and audit what is the audience of our, what is the key message in our report that we want to deliver, and how to structure the report to communicate the message that we want to communicate. So from different perspectives, this exercise improved our reporting, and at the same time that was some level of cultural growth, because we cannot change in a day. We should build up this mindset, this approaches, improvement in communication, and people within the team was more engaged in all this process. And after that, what I was using, and actually there are tools and templates from IIA website. There is at the moment, there is a structured conformance readiness tool that is also defines difference between previous and current standards and provides evidence of conformance. We try to visualize this checklist. It can be very detailed, but the checklist needs to be adapted to the team in terms of the size of the team, what are our scope, where we want to go, how we want to proceed. For small teams, it might be a little bit heavy to do that, but again, if we look at it as a strategic compass, if we look at it as a tool for us to perform better, then it becomes not a tick boxing exercise, but more of a reflecting on ourselves. So these are in my presentation, which will be shared. You can find certain links. There is recorded webinars on IA Global website on new standards and changes on a quality assessment manual, which highlights key areas of the quality assessment manual. So this conformance readiness assessment tool or this checklist might help to be prepared for external quality assessment, which is really helped us to look at ourselves. And as it is on IA website, it's preparing for our first external quality assessment. It is important to understand that we ourselves, we as auditors, become an auditors. And we are asked questions how to, how to provide evidence of what you are doing. Yes, we are doing something, but what is our evidence? Yes, we have effective communication, but what would be the proof of your effective communication? What document you have in place? What methodologies you have in place? And it's exactly the external quality assessment. It's an important exercise, and I think that it is very true that it worth it. It is important step forward, because every quality assessment would give you a different view on yourself. I would say that our internal assessment and the quality assessment, like from my experience, what I learned that the failure, like non-compliance is not a failure. Non-compliance is the area for improvement. Non-compliance is something that you would look at from different perspective. Non-compliance, there is something to do. It's a step forward. It's an action plan. And for us, it is important, really important to understand that this is not only kind of quality assurance improvement program that is our responsibility as a leaders to put in place. It's just empower our team. It makes us stronger. It gives us a certain level of reliance on our internal self, what type of services we provide. And really encourage to start these exercises with the team. And actually this is all, and I think that this provides some new ideas. Maybe it can be helpful for future improvement of internal audit processes for you as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nargiz, that you shared your practical experience. It's very valuable, and I would like to tell that continuing this topic,